Hey everyone, welcome to the second episode of MemeSolulu. So, in the last episode, we had Miss Amrita Bansal on our show talking about meme marketing. So, we are going to talk a little bit more about that. We are going to continue talking about that. So, in the last episode, we were discussing about how memes and culture go hand in hand. So, I was wondering, like, we have spoken about culture and how different countries can interpret the same meme differently. So because you are a faculty who's also studied about gender or specifically women, so I was wondering how gender comes into that.
Okay, so gender also comes into it in this way that because we use certain characters in the memes, right? Okay, so the moment there is a character in the meme and there is something identifying with the gender, okay, so then it has a different connotations to it. All right, so for example, if you remember the meme where there's a cat and there's a woman which is screaming, right? Okay, so now because it's like a woman is shown in a very hysterical way, and in our it's a very stereotypical association as well that women are hysterical. Okay, so then those kind of stereotypes embeds more, and that meme is particularly used in that context because context becomes very important, right? Okay, so whatever kind of face that you use, so like for example, there's a meme where there's a couple going hand in hand and then the guy is looking distracted looking at another woman. Okay, so now again there is that both the genders are interpreted in such a way, although all these three characters have been contextualized in so many other ways. Okay, but whenever there is a gender identity of any kind, okay, it has subtext. Okay, it has that how people are going to interpret it, how how it triggers a certain kind of emotion. It also reinforces a lot of stereotypes that are based on gender. Okay, so that is there. One is that. The second thing is that because they are contextual, memes can be like like for example, the way it happens with jokes, right? So there are a lot of jokes that we casually do around, that is between like a husband and a wife joke. Okay, most of the times these jokes are done by males. Okay, and they are laughed out more by the males. Okay, the similar thing can happen in the meme context as well when it is talking about a stereotype or something like that about a specific gender. It can be male or female either. Okay, it can trigger different kind of emotions. All right, so that's how like gender is also a part of meme because it talks about the character, it shows a certain character, it shows a certain kind of an identity, and the moment you know the identity or you feel that you know the identity, it changes the context. So if in the same meme, okay, that have been showed to you, and like if you take the same the girl guy meme with and the guy is distracted looking at another woman, if it would have been a different one, or the other way around, genders, there's a gender shift, like it's the woman who's distracted looking at another man. Okay, so now that would have another interpretation to it, right? That this interpretation can be like the men would be men, like that's how men are. Okay, this would be like very differently taken as an understanding in the society. So I'm not saying anything that this is right, wrong, or anything like that, but I would say that wherever in any kind of cultural vehicle, okay, so whether you talk about memes, you talk about advertising, okay, all these are our culture vehicles, that takes your culture in different context, in different places, and all these kind of things. Okay, it transfers information. So whenever you're talking about any cultural vehicle such as memes, and wherever the identity is attached to it. So whether it's gender identity, whether it's social identity, any kind of identity is revealed, then all the context comes in, all the stereotypes comes in, everything comes in then. Okay, you cannot take that away from it. All right. Okay, you can. So that's how gender plays a role. That how we would react to it, what kind of meaning it will take forward. Okay, so all of that will have a gender that will play.
As a marketer, is there a way, if it was something like a woman specific product, is there a way to tap into this gender difference, or is there something that a brand could do who do specifically women products? So is there a way that they could, actually kind of leverage this difference?
Yes, brands do that at all times. Okay. Also, you have to look at the shareability aspect from a brand perspective. Okay, if like for example, that there are certain kind of memes that are shared more by men, there are certain kind of memes that are shared more by women. Okay, what context of memes are shared by whom? Okay, so you have to understand that first, and yes, you can tap into that, and that's what brands do. That's how the whole gendered product and services, that's how we have. Okay, it's not that the products and the services can't be used by other gender, but it is heavily promoted and targeted towards a specific gender, hence you make the product gendered. Okay, or it can trigger from the gender roles that we have. Okay, so now all of that plays a role. So now when you want to use the meme to do that further, so you're using meme as another tool to further promote your product. Okay, then brands normally study that what are the topics that women would like to have memes on and all these kind of things, and they would do in that way. All right, so it's like, and brands do that. All right, so when you're talking about women, when you're talking about, so you will showcase a certain kind of memes, okay, which will have more relatability to women. Okay, so but that's like just another way of doing gendered targeting, or coming up with campaigns which are specifically targeted towards women. So memes becomes another way of doing it, delivering the same. Yeah.
But one thing I think is different for memes, at least, is age. So because mostly millennials and Gen Z, they understand memes, but would it be possible to use memes to speak to an audience that's like older in age?
It can be difficult because because now look at the kind of vocabulary that we use with memes, okay, or the context or the templates that we use in memes are very much based on generations like Gen Z and millennials. All right, the context we use or the templates that we use are not based on the Gen Y or the further generations. Okay, it's not that anyone would not understand it. They will definitely. Okay, but yes, the reach of it in a Gen Z and a millennial would be very higher. Okay, you have to use the templates that they relate to. Okay, all these kind of things. So so that needs to be changed. So the vocabulary and the language, and it's also like for example, talk about cartoon strips. Okay, now cartoon strips, you would see like Gen Y and all, they've grown up in cartoon strips where they used to wait week after week for the Sunday newspaper to see the cartoon strip. Okay, that waiting and looking at that was a huge part of their growing up, and even when they were young. Okay, so then that works for them, that resonates with them. Okay, because it has a huge cultural and contextual background to it. Now, when you are talking about memes in Gen Z and millennials, templates are that, context are that, okay? And memes are mostly used for, like, if I would say, in specific moments, all right? Okay, so then again, because it is very much based on social media, okay, so the medium is such where the memes are used more. Okay, so automatically the most of the people who are there are this particular generation. So that's why when it comes to meme marketing, it is more targeted and shared more by this audience. Okay, I'm not saying that it is impossible to do it, but challenging, and from a brand perspective they will not spend their money doing that. Okay, they would rather use another channel to do it. Okay, so if it's about meme, and you also want to do the shareability part of it, and more content is shared by these generations, I would say that if, for example, the older generation are more on WhatsApp and all of these places, or on Facebooks and all, so if memes start having more and more penetration in those mediums, so it might work there. Okay, but but mostly memes resonates on more on Instagram, on Twitter and all these places, so that is a bit restrictive for them. But yeah, like it's just because of the template and the conversations that are around it, that is not that resonated with that kind of an audience. So yes.
Like what you said, that also made me think about how different channels have like different kind of memes. So Facebook generally has minion and those kind of more old school memes, whereas Twitter and Instagram for that matter, they have more, I don't know, like fast clickbait kind of memes. So how do you think like this happened? Like why is it that there are certain kind of memes on each different social media site?
So there are 2-3 factors to it. One is how these platforms are, okay, at the core of it. So how what kind of spaces these places are, like what kind of content you can post, what kind of trends are there. So one is because of the platform itself, because platforms are different from each other. One is that. The second thing is the kind of audience that is there. All right, so minions and old school and all these kind of thing, because that kind of audience is more on Facebook and they're engaged more on that. So that's why that kind of memes are there. If like Instagram on Twitter, maybe similar kind of memes might be there, but for example on Twitter, meme like the shelf life of the meme is lesser. Okay, on Instagram is more. Okay, so because that is also like how trends work in these two platforms separately. Okay, so the kind of audience it is, because the audience is different, hence the content also they consume is different. So hence the ingredient content will also be different across platforms. All right, so the content, the platform itself, okay, and another thing is the kind of audience it is, okay, that makes it like what kind of memes work better on different platforms. So yeah.
So you talked about shelf life. So like memes do have a shelf life, but like what are the factors that go into like how long this meme is, in people's
So one is that so for a meme to work for a very longer time is that how relatable and correct it is for a longer time. Like when you look at Hera Fairy and Three Idiots, they were the movies which were made before 2010. Okay, memes gave them another life. Okay, and whenever, and these are those memes which can be used in so many different contexts. Okay, so now when that happens, it gives more shelf life to you. Okay, another thing is more and more people know about that template. The more people know about it, the more shelf life it will have. Okay, so the more it is more simple, the more simpler it is. Okay, it can be taken take a lot of shapes contextually. Okay, so for example in Three Idiots, the template of like the professor saying अरे कहना क्या चाहते हो, ठीक है. So now that is very simple line. Okay, but because it is so simple also, and it exactly hits the chord, that it can be used very easily in different contexts. Okay, so that's why it works. Fun is this. The second part is this, that because more people have watched these movies, more people understand the context. Okay, easy to remember. Okay, that I will also search for it very easily. Okay, so like for example, it's exactly like Google. Okay, so like on Google there are two things. One, something that Google or all these platforms show us. on their own, that you are this kind of a person, I'll show you this kind of content, so you watch more. And the other is that you yourself search for things. Okay, the moment it is that simple and that iconic that I remember it, that I will search for it and I'll use it in different context. Okay, I will put it in a thread and as a reply or something like that. So now top of the mind recall for them becomes easier. All right, so I would say if like for example that in the match between India and Pakistan, and there's a Pakistani audience member who's giving this look that he's quite disappointed. Now, match seen by so many people, right? The other thing is that is something that is there's nothing a written template over here there, so it's way more connecting. It can go to other cultures because there's no language barrier. Okay, that is there. Easy to remember, right? That's why it's still relevant. People still put it out. People still use it. Okay, so that's why. So if it's easy to remember, more people have seen the context or understand the context, and yes, shelf life is also more because of the language. So then the one you was talking about, the like, you know, what is this behavior puja, because it's in English, that matters a lot. Okay, the more it becomes like, if it's in Hindi language, it will lessen, it's more vernacular, so the more language barrier it will carry, so the lesser the shelf life would become. So yeah.
So because you have been doing research on memes, so we were also wondering, how do different consumers interpret different memes? So like based on your experience while interviewing consumers, so can you tell us about the interpretation of consumers and memes?
So consumers look at memes in different ways. So yes, very easy answer would be to like pass on the information, pass on the reactions, okay, in a more impactful manner. Okay, the other thing is like, it's something like that, you know, the way you use emojis, that you know, I cannot write it out, but the emotion and the image will actually show what I'm thinking or want to emote. So memes makes it more easier. Okay, right, that whenever people are conversing with each other, it's the shared experience that we enjoy the most. Okay, when we are talking with each other, we talk about our stories, we talk about our instances and all these things. Okay, now what happens is that you can't talk about you don't have so many amount of stories that you, so you have a lot of content out there, you share that. Okay, and memes have helped you in sharing something that you both can connect with. Okay, and share a better relationship in that. Now when I say relationship, is can be something like a colleague to colleague relationship, it can be something classmate relationship, it can be something sibling relationship. So there are more content out there where you can relive and understand, and it also provides you a break from your everyday life. Okay, so that kind of a thing. So so this is, I would say that memes helps you to communicate better for consumers. Okay, it also helps them to be in touch with other people. Okay, for example, every time you cannot just say, keep on saying hi, hello to people, even if you don't have anything to share or talk about, but this gives you a platform to be in touch with each other. Okay, so that is there. And another thing that I would say is that it makes your point more valid when you are in a conversation. Okay, so it makes your conversation more engaging. Okay, so all those things are relevant, and I'm speaking this on the basis of not at all from the brand or marketing perspective. It's like just general communication that happens among people. So that's how memes help them. Yeah.
So like, because we were still talking about meme marketing, so what do you envision would be the future of meme marketing? Or like, where do we, like right now we have Barbenheimer, we have like a lot of memes with very short shelf lives, I would say. So but what do you think would be seeing in like the next 5 years or the next 10 years? Like, how would meme marketing, like, do you think anything would change, or would it be the same thing?
Maybe I think because of the new tech, how memes are formed, that would change because AI is there, VR and all these things are there. So because of the technology, this would change. Like for example, technology has to do a lot with why memes are popular now, because the earlier medium and the tech was not supporting enough for this to be a thing, but now the medium is that it is. All right, maybe at that time there would be live memes. Okay, you don't know, like that can, because the tech is going to change, it will enable us to explore more. I would say that even though the shelf life is maybe for few things it can be lesser, okay, but it will just change that what kind of things we think of meme worthy. All right, but meme as a phenomena would not change. All right, the kind of startups we are getting, that totally tells that it's not going to change that much. What we think of as meme or something like that, that might change, the content might change obviously, because it's very cultural and contextual. Okay, but I don't think so that would change. I would say that it will penetrate more and more. Okay, I would say that more people, more generations, they will start looking at memes more. Another thing is that it will not, I think, like it has the capacity of not to be just a gimmick, or when people think of that, when you do meme marketing, it's not serious. Like that's how you start the question, right? Ki ma'am, when you show memes in the class, is there a thing that they won't take it seriously? But I don't think so that it's going to take things seriously. You will be able to communicate way more complex things in a more simpler way, because meme has the strength to do that. All right, so yes, context would change. Maybe shelf life might change, that shelf life would not be that longer, you to keep on coming with something new. Tech would change, so how we project memes or how memes are cultivated, that might change. But if you ask whether meme is going to be there or not, I think it's still going to be there. Yes.
Okay. So thank you, ma'am, once again for your time. It was a very insightful discussion. So that's a wrap on our podcast on the fascinating world of memes. We know that these bite-sized pieces of internet culture have left a mark, and they are still going to, according to you. So we have explored how memes unite people across the globe, across different genders, across ages even. And the way technology is changing, we are hoping to see more things, and how Gen AI could also probably bring more user-generated content and things like that. So please keep on watching our podcast, and we'll come up with more such episodes.